The year is 1895, the Victorian era, the Gilded Age. America stands at the threshold between old and new, between farms and factories, between kerosene lamps and electric lights. But what was daily life actually like for an ordinary working class family? Today, we are stepping back 130 years to spend one complete day with the O'Brien family, Irish immigrants living in a cramped Brooklyn tenement struggling to survive in industrial America. No running water in their apartment, no indoor toilet, no electricity, no heat except what they create. This isn't the romanticized past of period dramas. This is raw, authentic 1890s survival. Let's begin at dawn in working class America, where every day is a battle against poverty, exhaustion, and uncertainty. 4:30 a.m. Darkness still blanks Brooklyn. Patrick O'Brien wakes in the cramped bedroom he shares with his wife Catherine and their four children. There is no alarm clock. His body has learned to wake before the factory whistle. The apartment is freezing. Their tenement building has no central heating. Patrick dressed quickly in the dark. Long underwear, wool trousers, flannel shirt, vest, boots. Every moment practiced to avoid waking the children sleeping two to a bed. Catherine rises silently. She wraps a shawl over her nightgown and heads to the kitchen. A tiny room with a coal stove, a wooden table, and an ice box that rarely contains ice because ice costs money they don't have. She lights the coal stove, a skill requiring precision. Too little coal ate one hit. Too much, and they waste precious fuel they bought by the bucket. The stove takes 20 minutes to heat sufficiently for cooking. While waiting, she fills a kettle from the hallway water tap, 5 flights down, shared by 8 families. Water must be carried in buckets up 5 flights of stairs. Every drop used for cooking, washing, cleaning must be hauled manually. Catherine makes this journey 6 to 8 times daily. Her arms are permanently muscled from this endless labor. By 5:15, wake light filters through their single window overlooking a narrow air shaft. Catherine prepares breakfast. Oatmeal with water, milk is luxury. Stale bread, weak coffee. Patrick earns $9 per week at a factory. After paying $4 monthly rent for their 3-room apartment, buying coal, and purchasing food, there's almost nothing left. The children wake. Michael, 12 years old, Bridget, 10 years, Thomas, 7, and little Mary is 4 years old. They dress in clothes worn, thin from use, patched repeatedly. New clothes are impossible. They wear what fits until it literally falls apart. The younger children inherit what remains. Breakfast is silent and quick. Patrick must catch the 5:45 horse-drawn streetcar or lose his job. He leaves carrying a tin lunch pail Catherine packed, 2 pieces of bread, a small piece of cheese, an apple if they're lucky. Patrick works at a textile factory in Lower Manhattan. The factory employs 300 workers in a 5-story building with locked doors. Owners fear workers stealing fabric. The work floor is nightmarish. Massive looms clatter deafeningly. The air is thick with cotton dust that coats lungs and causes brown lung disease. Temperature exceeds 90 degrees from machinery heat and packed bodies. The only ventilation comes from windows that owners keep mostly closed. Patrick operates a mechanized loom standing for 12 hours with one 30-minute break. The work is dangerous. Machines have no safety guards. Workers lose fingers, hands, even arms when clothing catches in gears. There is no workers' compensation. Injured workers are simply fired and replaced. The foreman patrols constantly, shouting at anyone who slows. Talking is forbidden. Bathroom breaks are timed and restricted. Workers who use the privy too often are docked pay. At noon, the whistle blows. Patrick has 15 minutes to eat his meager lunch. He sits on the floor. There are no break rooms, no tables, no chairs for workers. He eats quickly, knowing exactly how many minutes before work resumes. The factory is integrated with recent immigrants. Irish like Patrick work alongside Italians, Polish, Jews, Germans, all desperate for wages, all exploited equally. Language barriers prevent organizing. Owners deliberately hire diverse ethnic groups to prevent worker solidarity. Patrick's wages barely sustain his family, but jobs are scarce. Thousands of immigrants arrive weekly, all desperate for work. Complaining means instant firing and replacement. So Patrick stands at his loom 12 hours daily, 6 days weekly, breathing cotton dust, risking injury, slowly destroying his body for $9 weekly. While Patrick works, Catherine's day is equally brutal. Being a housewife in 1895 means constant physical labor in impossible conditions. Monday is wash day. Catherine hauls water from 5 flights down, bucket by bucket. She heats water on the stove in a massive pot. She scrubs clothes on a washboard with harsh lye soap that cracks and bleeds her hands. She wrings clothes by hand, an exhausting process requiring strength. She carries wet laundry to the roof, where clotheslines stretch between buildings. One load of laundry takes 4 hours. A family of 6 generates constant dirty clothes. Catherine washes from dawn until afternoon, her back screaming, hands raw. Today is Tuesday, marketing day. She walks 10 blocks to the cheapest market where damaged produce sells for pennies. She bargains aggressively, stretching every coin. She buys potatoes, the cheapest food available, cabbage, onions, small amount of fatty meat, flour, lard. Fresh milk would be wonderful, but costs too much. The children drink water. Shopping is a strategic calculation. Which vegetables fill stomach longest? Which protein offers most nutrition for less money? Catherine performs these calculations unconsciously, born from years of poverty. She carries heavy bags home, climbing 5 flights. By the time she reaches their apartment, she is exhausted, but her day continues. Cooking is labor intensive. She peels potatoes, chops vegetables, tends the coal stove constantly to maintain temperature. She bakes bread. Buying bread costs more than making it from flour. She makes a stew that will last 2 days. She also sews. Every piece of clothing requires constant repair. She patches trousers, darns socks, lets down the hems as children grow. She makes children's undergarments from flour sacks. She creates cleaning racks from worn out clothes. Nothing is discarded. Everything has potential reuse. The apartment requires constant cleaning. Coal dust coats everything. Soot from nearby factories drifts through windows. She sweeps, wipes, scrubs. Without running water in the apartment, even cleaning floors means hauling water. Michael, age 12, doesn't attend school. He works at a glass factory as a carrion boy, carrying hot glass pieces from furnaces to cooling tables. He works 10 hours daily in extreme heat for $3 weekly, critical income for the family. Child labor is universal in working class families. Children's wages mean survival. Education is luxury. Only wealthy children afford. Michael's childhood ended at age 10 when the family needed additional income after Patrick's wages were cut. Bridget and Thomas attend public school barely. They go when Catherine can spare them, which isn't often. Bridget misses school frequently to help with washing, watch Mary, or earn pennies doing piecework at home. School itself is grim. 60 children crowd into classrooms designed for 30. One overworked teacher maintains order through corporal punishment. Students sit on hard benches at long tables. They write on slate boards with chalk, paper being too expensive for regular use. Education is rote memorization. Reading, writing, arithmetic taught through endless repetition and recitation. Creative thinking isn't encouraged. Teachers prepare children for factory work, not intellectual development. Children bring lunch from home, usually bread and lard, maybe an apple. Many children bring nothing and go hungry. Teachers notice but can do nothing. Poverty is everywhere. After school, children don't play, they work. Thomas sells newspapers on street corners for pennies. Bridget helps Catherine with housework and watches Mary. Play is occasional luxury, not daily expectation. Patrick arrives home at 7 p.m. having worked since 6 a.m. He is covered in cotton dust, exhausted, his ears ringing from machinery noise. He washes at the kitchen basin, cold water from the hallway tub. Taking a full bath would require heating water, filling a tube, and energy no one has. Patrick bathes fully only on Sundays. Catherine serves dinner, potato and cabbage stew with small piece of meat for flavor. Bread, water. The family eats at the wooden table, crowded together on mismatched chairs and bench. Dinner conversation is minimal. Everyone is tired. Patrick asks about the children's day. Catherine mentions price at market. Michael describes his factory work. The younger children eat silently, knowing food is precious. After dinner, the family sits in the kitchen, the warmest room because the stove still burns. There is no parlor, no living room. Their tenement apartment has 3 rooms: kitchen, bedroom where parents and young sleep, and tiny room where older children sleep. Entertainment is scarce and simple. Patrick reads an old newspaper by a kerosene lamp. Kerosene costs money, so only one lamp burns. Reading material is precious. Newspapers are read repeatedly, sharing among neighbors. Catherine mends clothes by lamplight, squinting at her stitching. Bridget helps, learning skills she will need as a wife and mother. Thomas plays quietly with homemade wooden toy. Mary sits on Catherine's lap. Sometimes Catherine sings Irish songs from her childhood. Her voice is beautiful and sad. The song speaks of home, Ireland, which she left at 16 and will never see again. The children know these songs by heart, connecting them to a homeland they have never visited. By 8:30, younger children are in bed. They wash quickly in cold water, put on their threadbare nightclothes, and climb into beds where 2 children share each narrow mattress. Michael, working full-time, is considered nearly adult. He stays up later, sitting with his father. They discuss work, money, the future. Michael wants better for himself, but sees no path. Factory work is all he knows, all that's available. Saturday, Patrick works until 2 p.m. Factories run 6 days weekly. Saturday afternoon is for essential tasks. Patrick might visit a saloon, one of few places working men can gather. A beer costs a nickel. Men discuss politics, work conditions, union organizing. Saloons serve as working-class social clubs. Catherine used Saturday afternoon for deep cleaning or visiting neighbors. Women gather in hallways or apartments, sharing news, advice, and occasional food. These networks are survival tools. When someone is sick, neighbors help. When money runs desperately short, neighbors lend what little they can. Saturday evening, the family might splurge on small entertainment. Street vendors sell pretzels for a penny. A talented musician plays violin on the corner for coins. Children might watch, fascinated by this break from routine. Sunday is a church and rest, theoretically. The O'Briens attend Catholic Mass at their parish church, packed with Irish immigrants. Church is obligation and community. Here, they see people from home, hear their language, maintain identity. Sunday afternoon, Catherine still cooks, cleans, prepares for the week. There is no true rest for women, but the pace is slightly slower. Perhaps they visit Catherine's sister who lives 10 blocks away. Families crowd into tiny apartments, children playing while adults talk. Young people court formally. Bridget at 10 is years from courtship, but she watches older girls walk with young men, always chaperoned, always proper. Marriage means starting the cycle again. Poverty, endless work, too many children, struggle. As we return to our present, the contrast staggering. The O'Briens worked infinitely harder than most of us can imagine, yet remained desperately poor. They had no electricity, no telephone, no modern medicine. A serious illness meant probable death. Doctors cost money they didn't have. Child mortality was common. The O'Briens were lucky. All four children survived infancy. They had no job security, no safety regulations, no workers' right. Patrick could be fired instantly for any reason. Injury meant destitution. Old age meant poverty. If you survived that long, most working class men died in their 50s, bodies destroyed by labor. Women worked endlessly without rest. Catherine's day was longer than Patrick's, though unpaid. She had no labor savings device. Every task required physical effort. She would likely bear more children. Birth control barely existed. Women had little control over their reproduction. Children had no childhood as we understand it. Education was minimal. Work began young. Play was rare. They grew up fast because survival demanded it. Yet, despite everything, families like the O'Briens persevered. They maintained dignity in degrading conditions. They helped neighbors despite having nothing. They preserved culture and identity. They hoped their children might have better lives. The 1890s working class didn't live in quaint simplicity. They lived in brutal struggle. Their labor built industrial America, yet they remained poor. Their suffering drove labor movements that won the rights we now take for granted. 8-hour workdays, weekends off, child labor laws, safety regulations, minimum wage. Understanding the O'Brien's reality changed how we see our ancestors and ourselves. Every convenience we enjoy, hot running water, electricity, weekends, workplace, safety, was fought for by people like Patrick and Catherine. Every right we possess came from workers who organized, struck, and sometimes died demanding better conditions. When we romanticize simpler times, we ignore that simplicity meant hardship for most people. When we say people were tougher then, we miss the point they had no choice. They endured because alternatives were death or starvation. The 1890s were transformative for America. Immigration soared, cities exploded, factories multiplied, wealth concentrated dramatically in few hands while millions struggled. These tensions would explode in labor conflicts, political movements, and eventually reforms. But in 1895, families like the O'Briens simply survived day by day, hoping tomorrow might be slightly easier than today. Their story matters because it's real history, not sanitized, not dramatized. It's the trust of how ordinary people lived, worked, and died, building the America we inherited. We owe them memory, acknowledgement, and gratitude. Their sacrifice created the possibility of our comfort. Their struggles won our rights. Their suffering shouldn't be forgotten or romanticized. Thank you for spending a day in 1890s working class America. If this journey moved you, please subscribe and share. What aspect of 1819's life shocked you most? Could you survive their daily reality? Let's discuss in the comments. Remember, history isn't just dates and famous people, it's ordinary families fighting to survive, love, and hope for better futures. The O'Briens represent millions whose names we will never know but whose labor built our world.